Three, two, one. Hey, everybody. Love and light. This is Cameron Whitten here, founder, chief executive officer, and chief healing officer for our beloved racial justice nonprofit, Brown Hope. And we are here today for our monthly Soulfood Sessions. It's been a minute. We had to take a quick hiatus just to be loving ourselves during the month of August, but we are so excited to be back here today, chock full of updates and tea and cake. Y'all know what it is with Soulfood Sessions. It's our opportunity to come back together as our beautiful Brown Hope community, just to reground, to reconnect, and keep our sights on that beautiful future we all want and deserve. And so as a reminder, we start off with our tea. We talk about stuff related to healing and racial justice. After that, we get into our plate, where we talk about the amazing updates going on in the Brown Hope community. And then finally, we end with the cake, which is a quick discussion of a healing strategy that we encourage you to consider using in your own life. And as a reminder, we do have a time after our plate for questions from our viewers. So we have our Director of Development and Communications here, Ruben Cottingham. Say hi, Ruben.
What's good?
Ruben says, what's good? So if y'all have any questions, throw them in the chat, and we're super excited for y'all to be joining us here for Soulfood Sessions. So what's the tea for today? We're going to be talking about one of my favorite topics of conversation, and that is the conversation on reparations. Y'all know the word. Y'all know we all have feelings about it, whether you talk about it at the dinner table or you talk about it at work or you talk about it with elected officials. Reparations is a hot button issue, and it's only going to get even hotter because y'all know racism ain't going anywhere anytime soon. And so we have the state of California, which, as you know, is a very progressive state that has done a lot of bold movements and action when it comes to racial justice, including on the conversation of reparations for slavery. That being said, we are still in a very challenging moment because UC Berkeley just released last month a survey from a research poll of California voters and found that reparations still happens to be a hot button and controversial issue. In totality, out of 6,000 California residents who were polled, 59% of the respondents actually had an unfavorable view and opinion on reparations for slavery. My first reaction to that is, wow. For folks who don't know, this idea of reparations for the descendants of enslaved Black people has been a conversation in this country since slavery was abolished some 200 years ago. The reason why is because the United States of America was colonized by people who came from Europe, founded the United States of America, and they ended up developing all of this financial success and this society by stealing land from people indigenous to North America and then bringing over enslaved Africans on slave ships to build this country. And even after the Civil War, and we created the Freedmen's Bureau, and we tried Reconstruction, there was still a huge racial economic divide. And that followed with so many racist policies and systems like the Jim Crow era, or the segregation era, or different hate groups and white supremacist groups like the Ku Klux Klan. And ever since the official abolition of slavery, we've also still dealt with legalized slavery in this country, where slavery was only abolished when a person was not found guilty of a crime. And let's be honest, not everyone who's found guilty of a crime is actually guilty. And we have a system of injustice within our criminal justice system where Black, brown, and indigenous people are more likely to be arrested for crimes and more likely to be found guilty for crimes than white counterparts who also commit the same crimes and are more likely to be found guilty for crimes they did not actually commit. So we have folks who actually still experience a legalized form of slavery through our carceral systems in America. So guess what? We are still talking about this idea of reparations as a community because it's not just about the legacy of slavery. It is the ongoing shockwaves of this country's policies related to race that are built upon the foundation and legacy of slavery, which has not truly been healed from our hearts, our minds, or our society. And so we talk about reparations, not just about what happened in the past. We're talking about reparations about what's happening today and our dreams for the future. And so the state of California has been very progressive and on the leading edge in this conversation that, yes, we have a lot of racial trauma that we have to heal, that we have to address. One of the most powerful ways to do that is direct cash payments without any type of bureaucracy. We're talking about real economic stimulus for folks who experience racial economic inequities. And yet at this time, the conversation is still controversial even in California. What we see is that reparations has been consistently supported by a majority of Black Americans. But you see this really break down by racial lines and especially by political lines. Republicans almost unanimously oppose reparations, and then Democrats are evenly split on the question. One of the reasons why we really struggle around this political polarization of reparations is this philosophy that slavery is history. And that argument that you hear coming from most Republicans only goes so far, because guess what happens the moment that we want to take down a Confederate statue? We start questioning Robert E. Lee or Stonewall Jackson or Andrew Jackson. You see Republicans come and defend the history of the folks who enslaved Black people or led a war in order to defend the ongoing enslavement of human beings of a different skin color. And so, yes, we are still seeing the power of slavery mindset, of white dominant mindset within even some of the most powerful parts of our political system, where we can't even have a conversation on whether it's okay to take down statues of people who were champions for slavery, or whether to rewrite our history books to put a better light on who enslaved who and who actually worked the hardest for real liberation. It's an uncomfortable conversation for us to get into a place of real humanity and compassion and acknowledging that Black Americans are still struggling to be treated with dignity, respect, and love because of ongoing assumptions on what happened 200 years ago when it came to slavery and what has happened for the last 200 years as we as America have continued to fail in our promise to repair the harm, both past and ongoing, when it comes to systemic racial injustice. And so it is very discouraging. California, who has a very supportive governor and a supportive state legislature, and yet it seems like we still are struggling to do something that is basic human dignity. We see really great economic stimulus policies when it comes to our high income earners, or when it comes to our Fortune 500 companies that are big banks, when it comes to the working class, when it comes to our everyday people. This conversation on economic stimulus always is seen as that's controversial. The folks who do the most work with the least pay, we always question whether we can do more. And so the beautiful thing is reparations actually is a very inclusive and flexible conversation. Reparations is beyond just this idea of direct cash stimulus. Reparations also means real transformation in our education system, in our criminal justice system, in our housing system, in our tax system. And so what we need to be thinking about when it comes to reparations is not just about who's getting what type of money, but it's really about what society do we want to live in. One where we continue to see racial inequities magnified and exacerbated and unsolved, or one where we live in a society where every day we are seeing the harms of racial trauma evaporate because we're taking action and we're making intentional changes to our policies and our culture. So I have hope for California. I have hope for Oregon. I have hope for the entire United States that we can be better than our past. But that also means owning that we can do so much better for the future. So that is our tea for today. Next, we have our plate. As a reminder, there's time for Q&A afterwards. Ruben will be fielding us questions from the audience. But let's talk about amazing updates that have been happening within the Brown Hope community. So a lot of new things. First, we have 2 new team members. Brown Hope's team is growing in abundance, and we're super excited to invite 2 new teamers to our team, and that is Calvin Curry and Nisha Anaya. Calvin is joining us as our new development manager. Will be helping us with grant writing, will be helping us with donor stewardship. We're going to be excited to be kicking off the next couple of months and 2024 with so many new donor appreciation events, with new ways to engage our donors, to poll, to communicate, to appreciate, and also just continuing in our grassroots fundraising strategies, like our monthly donors and our online fundraising campaigns, really showing that this is what action looks like. This is what generosity looks like. It is an inclusive, grassroots, community building base. And we're super excited to be working with our new friend, Calvin Curry, who is Portland born and raised, went to De La Salle even. And so we also are excited to welcome to our team, Nisha Anaya, also known as Cosmic Rose. And Nisha Anaya is our new community building manager, who is responsible for our community outreach initiatives, but also helping to facilitate our weekly program of Power Hour. Nisha is a Brown Hope familiar, has been coming to Power Hour, is a professional healer, and is coming with a brand new, fresh set of eyes when it comes to the dynamic space that we offer to Black, Brown, and Indigenous people on a weekly basis. So we're super excited to be welcoming both these 2 new team members. We're excited to see all the new ways in which we're going to develop offerings for community and new ways to engage all of you all in our work. With that being said, we have a lot of exciting news about our program Power Hour, which has been having weekly services provided since the pandemic in 2020. And so we are going to be having a lot of new intentional changes to the Power Hour program. For the time being, we have switched all of our weekly events to being virtual as we bring in a new co-facilitator. We are bringing in a new intentional facilitation of our agenda, including changes to our vibe check and our mindful moment. We are also bringing intentional changes to our childcare system. We offer free childcare, and we can't wait to bring that back to in person. And so anyone who comes to Power Hour, please make sure to sign up via Zoom. Share the Zoom registration link to any Black, Brown, and Indigenous people in town that you know. And we're so excited to see what happens next with Power Hour and our new team member, Nisha. With that, BRF is still an amazing success. We've been doing monthly universal basic income payments to our cohort since January. That cohort includes 25 people. It's also a village building program where folks have been having their monthly meetings and our monthly emails, continue to socialize, build relationships, getting to understand themselves and each other better. And in the past 2 months, we've had incredible updates with our team, with Power Hour, where folks have new ways in which they have experienced resilience and success in their lives. This includes one of our cohort members started a brand new power washing business. One of our members started a recording studio. One was able to meet her estranged 2 children. Another one converted their garage into a gym, and they're getting certified to become a personal trainer. One of our cohort members remodeled their home. Another one bought a new car and met their father for the first time. Another paid their daughter's new car off and is paying for a kid to go to college. And finally, another one started a brand new nonprofit to become a doula and help other folks with birthing and pregnancy. We are so proud and inspired by the 22 folks who are part of our pilot of our new village building program with a monthly basic income. As a reminder to folks, this is a 3-year program. We're in the middle of just successfully facilitating year 1, but we need all hands on deck, this community, to be donating generously to fund year 2 of our 3-year monthly basic income program. And so anyone who wants to support, go to blackresiliencefund.com, sign up to be a monthly donor, make a generous one-time donation, whatever you can do to set up these folks for the best success. So that is our update for BRF. The other big update for our organization is we are in a time of transformation this year, and a big focus for us as an organization is the conversation of restorative justice. What does that mean? For us, restorative justice means deepening the cohesive fabric of community. We are living in a world that isn't always fair. And as Black, Brown, and Indigenous people, sometimes it's not even worth telling the stories of the day-to-day hardships that we experience. And because of so much suffering in the world, we can often experience conflict within our very own communities where hurt leads to more hurt. And our own community that has been helping folks in crisis for the past 3 years since the global pandemic, it's been hard, it's been heavy. One of the things that is often frequent in the nonprofit sector is compassion fatigue and burnout, because we are constantly trying to find limited resources to give folks who need so much with dealing with the crisis of the world. And so what we are doing for our team and our very own staff is facilitating trainings and workshops related to restorative justice. It's our belief that there is always the ability to look within and channel love, compassion, and kindness and abundance. But that is easier said than done. We all need help to learn, to study, to teach, to listen. And so it's through offering restorative justice trainings. Every single person learns how to be a peace builder and a community builder. So we want to give a shout out to our trainer, Nyanga Uka. It has been amazing just to hold space for people to share personal stories, for us to also talk more about the tactical and theoretical side of what does it mean to do restorative justice. One of the things that, if y'all worked here, know that I preach about day in and day out is this amazing book called Anatomy of Peace that really brings a super accessible perspective on how to practice peace and practice restorative justice in your life, in your work, and in your own community. And so we'll be excited as an organization to continue to uplift this conversation on restorative justice and find ways for you yourself to practice that in your own lives. Leading to which, last and not least, I am excited and honored to announce to you all that we have upcoming this incredible opportunity for what we are calling a homecoming event for Brown Hope on November 4th. The last 8 months have not been easy. And yet what we know is that family is there for each other through ups and downs and thick and thin. It's the reason why we made the decision to focus the next month on putting together a magical and memorable homecoming event. It is an opportunity for us to acknowledge this brand new nonprofit with deep and rich history, to be looking back at our founding story in 2018, to look at the work that we've done over the past 3 years since George Floyd was murdered in 2020 and our global pandemic. It'll be looking at the past 8 months and the challenges we've faced and the solutions that we've implemented to maintain our momentum as a healthy, thriving organization. And then importantly, we're also going to be focusing on the beautiful, abundant future with the amazing staff, board, volunteers, consultants, donors, and so many other supporters who are a part of our work. This will be an event of music, of storytelling. We're even going to have healing activities facilitated so y'all can see our work in action. We are also going to be inviting our supporters to provide live testimonials at this event. So if you are a member of this Brown Hope community and you have a testimonial of why you believe in Brown Hope, why you've benefited from this work, and your dreams for the future, if you want to even do a virtual recorded video, 30 seconds, please send an email to our development director, Ruben at brownhope.org. Again, that is Ruben, REUBEN, at brownhope.org. If you are a member of this Brown Hope family and you want to provide a testimonial to help inspire other people to believe and trust and give to Brown Hope, we would love for you to participate. Because what is Brown Hope if not community? So again, we have our homecoming event on November 4th. It will be at the Village Ballroom on Northeast Deacom and 8th. It'll be at 5 p.m. Again, that is November 4th, Village Ballroom at 6 p.m. And we hope that we'll see you there. Find out more details at brownhope.org. And we really, really hope that you'll be there for our homecoming. So with that, we have time for Q&A. Ruben, what kind of questions do we have from our viewers?
Question. Someone asked, when is Solidarity Squad coming back?
That is an excellent question. So our Solidarity Squad program has been closed for repairs to our warehouse. We anticipate that the warehouse will reopen this fall. As soon as we have a specific date, we will have an open house kickoff, and we will be announcing that on all of our social media and our newsletter. And we know how important this program is. We have been providing critical services of mutual aid to Black, Brown, Indigenous folks for the past 3 years. We really do hope that folks come to that reopening so that we can continue to support folks in need.
Yes. You spoke a lot about reparations for the tea. Someone wants to ask, what will Brown Hope do more reparations work other than PRF?
Yes, we want to do as much reparations work as possible because we know reparations work is critical to racial healing, and we don't have to wait for the government to bring in new policies or implement reparations themselves. We can do reparations every single day. And so we do reparations work not only with Black Resilience Fund, but also with Power Hour, where every participant who comes every week receives a $40 stipend in the spirit of reparations. And as we continue to grow our resources and grow our base, we want to implement more strategies and opportunities for reparations-based activism here in Portland. How we approach reparations within our organization is well highlighted in our theory of change. And it comes in core strategy number 4 called Planting Seeds of Change. And we approach reparations through this 3-part practice. First, of economic capital, second, social capital, and third, spiritual capital. With economic capital, that means that we do direct cash assistance without red tape or bureaucracy. With social capital, that means that we provide community building opportunities of authentic relationships based on reciprocity and trust. And third, we do spiritual capital. And that means that we are creating spaces for folks to do self-discovery and self-awareness, whether that is mindfulness or meditation. We know that self-love is truly the strongest force for healing. It is through all those 3 things, economic, social, and spiritual capital, together creates the reparations-based activism we do here at Brown Hope. So we look forward to creating new programs and scaling our current existing programs to offer as much reparations and healing to our community as possible.
That was it.
Awesome. Okay. So we're going to be closing this out with our cake. And our cake is always a time for us to explore ideas of how we can practice healing more deeply in our own lives. And this one is a tender one for anybody to talk about. But it's one of the most important ways in which we as people can heal. And it is the topic of forgiveness. What I know for certain is that forgiveness can be scary. There can be a lot of unknowns. Forgiveness is a topic of conversation because it always is tied to this idea of trust being broken by someone that you believed in, loved, you cared about, you felt safe with. And we know that we've all have stories in our life of someone who hurt us, and we didn't know why, and we didn't know how to heal. And we changed the way that we saw this person to the point where we either talked to them differently or didn't talk to them at all. And we often know is that when we've experienced that type of betrayal of trust, it leads to shockwaves of hurt and pain other ways in our life. And so this conversation of forgiveness is hard because how can you forgive when you don't feel healed or you don't feel whole? The wise, kind, and loving truth is that forgiveness is oftentimes key to actually healing, to actually repairing trust for yourself, but also with other folks who've hurt you in the past. I know for my own story, my biggest experience with forgiveness had to do with my very own father. As y'all know, many of y'all know, I first came to Portland at the age of 18 and was a homeless youth on the streets for many years because of the trauma I experienced in childhood. And there were 13 years where I did not even speak to my father, the man who gave me life, because of the trauma I experienced in childhood. There was no person scarier to me in my life, even in my dreams, than my father. And I found myself, despite 13 years in Portland, having a successful career, building a decent life for myself, never, ever allowing anyone to get close, whether friendship, romantic, or otherwise, never letting anyone truly close into my life because of the damage that was caused by the relationship with my father. That all changed for me in 2019, just before I turned 30, where I had to look really hard in the mirror and ask myself, is this the life that I want to live? Where I could never have happiness or love with another person in my life because of what happened to me when I was a child. That's the time when I read the book Anatomy of Peace. And it was this uncomfortable but necessary journey of forgiveness that opened my heart and my mind and my soul to not only to humanize and have compassion for my own pain, but to be able to do the same for my father, to see him fully as human and have compassion for the hurt he experienced that, yes, influenced the way that my childhood was when I was young. All I know is that I found that place quickly. And after not talking to this man for 13 years, I had a 13-minute conversation with him And I remember it was so surreal. It was like all of that pain and trauma didn't exist anymore. And I had this outer body experience of just feeling this wave and energy of acceptance and calm. And the only thing that I could think about during this time was, what can I do right now to help this man? When you practice forgiveness, it is bigger than forgiving the other person. You are creating psychic energy for yourself, for new love to come in. You are making your relationships with other people that you care about in your life healthier, because you're not triggered or burdened by the heavy weight of other pain that you've experienced in life. You let it go. I know that forgiveness can be scary, because what does that mean for your future? Forgiveness doesn't mean that a person will come back into your life. It doesn't mean that they'll hurt you again. It means that you are creating permission for yourself to draw new boundaries for how you move in the world and how you relate to other people, even those who broke your trust in the past. And so forgiveness is a way to look abundantly that you are more than what happened to you. You are more than your past. And other people are also more than their past. I believe that all human beings have the inherent capacity to evolve and grow and become their best selves. And I believe that most especially because the man that I thought was my biggest abuser is now one of my best friends. So I do believe the way that we overcome the suffering of this world, we overcome the horrible events of our past. It's by forgiving in a deeper way than we ever could imagine. We all can do that. And I believe at Brown Hope, we can be one of the best teachers. So sit with that. I think the best way for you, ask yourself, what do you need to learn about forgiveness? How do you need to lean into forgiveness in your own life? How can you find a place where you can be uncomfortable as you explore a way that you can forgive yourself or someone very soon? That's the cake. Appreciate you for digesting. With that, that is our Soulfood Sessions for the day. We appreciate all y'all for listening, and we look forward to seeing y'all in November. With that, have a great weekend. Love and light. Bye.